In today's video, we're fitting air jacks to my drift car. That thing took off like a wild snake. Alright guys, in this episode, we're fitting air jacks to my Volvo 740 drift car. For those of you who don't know what air jacks are, they're usually used in endurance racing, such as British GT, for example, to allow the car to change wheels and wheels super quickly in a pit stop. Now, we've already fitted them, and this video is a bit jumping all over the place, but we're going to go back into the workshop and show you everything you need, how to install them, and then we're going to come back out here and show you what else you can do. So the reason we're fitting these to my car is because not only does it look cool as shit, it's also going to make it so much quicker to change rear tyres, but more importantly, just check the car over at events. And if you do get a problem with the car and you have a 5-minute rule, this is going to be the quickest way to get the car up in the air so you can start fixing the problem. But first of all, let's show you how long it takes to jack up a car using the traditional jack and axle stand method versus air jacks. Right, so in order to jack your car up to safely work on it, the old school method, you're going to need a jack, axle stands, 4 of them. Depending on how low your car is, you might need ramps, 2 of them or 4 of them. Right, so let's see how long this takes. Right, stop the clock, Louis. How long is that? Right, now we've tried it the old school method, let's test it with the air jacks. Considerably faster. Right, so as you can see, the air jack system is about 10 times faster. And we've got to drop it down again, so it's going to take about the same time again to take it out the old school method. And I was rushing doing that, so it was even faster. And I've creased my steel.
He has actually creased his seals quite badly.
That was really bad. I definitely should have done it on that point. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Which was still jacking point, which was absolutely immaculate after 35 odd years of this car being alive. So air jacks, 1. Old school system, none. Now let's go to the workshop. I'm going to show you all the parts you're going to need and how to install them. Right, so we've decided that air jacks are cool and we're going to fit them to the car. So what do you need to make this happen? There's 2 types of system. A high pressure system that's usually used in GT3 cars that uses nitrogen compressed gas at about 20 bar to lift the car up, which is essential if you're trying to do a super fast pit stop. We've got a little bit more time, so we've gone for a lower pressure system, which operates at 8 bar, which means that you can lift the car using a standard workshop compressor, which you can have at the side of the track, because you're probably changing tyre pressures and stuff anyway. It also means you don't have to carry around with you a massive heavy bottle of nitrogen and deal with getting that charged up when it's out of pressure. We're using a kit, it's made by a company called Nuke Performance in Sweden. We're not sponsored by these guys, but anyway, but it was cool and we like their low pressure idea. So, in order to fit this to your car, you're going to need the air jack itself, which is essentially a canister actuator. When you put air in the top, this will extend and it lifts the car. So you're going to need a minimum of 3 of these if you've got quite a lightweight car. But typically you're going to want 4, 1 on each corner of the car, because that is just going to give you the most stable platform to work with. We're not only using these to work or change the tyres, change the wheels, we're also going to use these to maybe change a gearbox. We want this to be really stable. And then in order to fit these to your car, you're going to need to do some fabricating. This isn't a simple bolt-on product, and every car that you're going to fit this to is going to be different. You're going to need to cut holes in the floor of your car or wherever you're going to mount them and weld them in place. So not the actual parts themselves, but something like this. So you can use a steel tube, or you can get a flat plate with a hole and another bracket. Essentially these parts need to be welded to the car, and then you basically tighten these down, a bit like adjusting a coilover suspension. Other things you're going to need, it's pretty simple. You're going to need 3 or 4 of those. You're going to need air lines, lots of little connectors, and then a valve to actually connect the air to the car. Now this is a simple valve that goes straight onto your compressor, and you lock it on and off just like so. You can also get special lances like you'd see on the GT3 cars that will just push straight into the side to make it even quicker. Except for that, it's really pretty simple. The hardest part is doing the fabrication. Each one of these is going to lift the car about 280 millimeters, but you've also got to allow the gap for the actual foot to retract, so maybe you're going to have about 20 centimeters. It's going to be enough to get the car off the floor and allow you to change your wheels, but probably not enough to actually change a gearbox. So in order to do that, they've come up with a clever system. It's called the elephant's foot. And to show you how this works, I've got myself a compressor here, quite a small one, but it's actually got a charge of air already in it. And we're going to connect this up to the actuator, show you how that works. So at the top, you've got a nice quick air connection on there. This is going to connect on the outside of your car. Whoa. I was supposed to have the valve closed at that point. You get a good extension. Now, that's going to allow you to lift the car up by this much, but you have to take into account that you're actually going to have that actually a bit higher up to begin with. So it's probably not going to be enough to let you change the gearbox, but we've got another piece of the puzzle for that. So this is called the elephant's foot. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift the car up like this, slide this piece underneath, and then you're going to let the air out. That's going to retract into this position. You can then slide that bit on, and we'll go again. And now it's up like that. You can then put the last piece in, let the air out, and now the car is up on the stilts, and you can now crawl under the car and change your gearbox. That's pretty cool. Right, so you've saved up all your pocket money, you bought your air jacks, and you're now going to fit them to the car. So the first thing you've got to do is work out where you're going to put these things. You really want them as far forward but behind the wheels as possible, and as far backwards but in front of the rear wheels as possible. That's going to give you a lot of clearance, going to make the car really stable on the jacks. That might not be possible, however, so if you're struggling, I think going further forward and further back is going to be better than going further in, because then it's going to be like a seesaw. You do want it to be stable. So, as we're trying to replace using jack stands. So on the Volvo, we're going to use these tubes. So with these tubes, it means you can cut a hole in the floor, weld these on, and then brace them to another part of the car, a bit like the chassis. If you're doing this, you want to do it on something structural, just, not just straight through the floor pan. This part then becomes the part that actually the jack will slide into, and then you basically just tighten them down onto that. You can actually take this top piece off so you can slide it through the bottom if you need to, but you do need to account for not just that fitting in the car, but probably the top of the air jack fitting through as well. So that can be forgotten about, I think. The other thing you want to do is make sure that you have enough clearance for the foot. If you do it too low, obviously the lower down you have it, the higher lift you're going to get on the car. But if you're like me and you go off-road quite often, if you have these down, sticking down, you're probably going to smash them. So you're going to want them higher than like the chassis rails. That's going to mean you lose some drop, but you're going to keep it protected. Right, so as you can see, we've taken the doors off, I've taken the seat out and the dash to give us some kind of working space. Looking in here, I've really only got one option, and it's going to have to go somewhere here. I'm going to use the roll cage as a structural part to brace it to. This is the strongest part of the car, and that's going to give us the best lift so we don't get any flex. However, we've got kind of a bit of a difficulty because it's a tight area. We've got this start of the wheel arch we're going to have to cut through, and we're going to have to make sure we can get it as far this way as possible so it doesn't interfere with the clutch pedal. But I think that's going to be doable. We're going to mark out with a pen and then just start cutting holes, and then we'll worry about making it better afterwards. Right, so we've got the front sorted, now we've got to do the back, or work out where we're going to put it at least. Typically, you're going to want to probably somewhere around your roll cage mounts could be good, but the Volvo is quite a long car, so that doesn't really work for us. It's going to be too far forward. So realistically, I think we're going to have to go through here. We're going to have to cut through this piece of the floor and also part of this sill, and then we can weld those two together. And if it's still flexing after that, we can always brace from here up into the roll cage, and that'll keep it nice and sturdy. So I'm going to mark that, cut through, and then we can weld that in. But I think we're going to start on the front first. And the other important thing is that you actually check underneath the car. So when you do drill a hole, you don't drill through like a brake line or something. Right, so I think this is where it's going to have to go. We've got a tiny bit of flat surface, but we've got the arch that's in here. We've also got the sill. So I'm going to mark the best I can here and then cut straight down. And then we're just going to have to keep doing this by ear. There's no turning back because I'll now cut a nice big hole in my nice shiny race car. Ooh, it's through. Almost ripped my hand off. I can see the floor now. Right, so at this point, I'm going to let you into a little bit of a secret. I'd actually rehearsed this and done the right-hand side of the car earlier, and it was a piece of cake. This side, however, not so much. We've actually discovered that, for some reason, the cars are different on each side, and we've not got as much space here as we thought we had on the other side. Plus the clutch pedal, needing to have enough clearance, we're now having to go into the chassis rail and into the sill, which is something I didn't really want to have to do because that's structural and it's bolted to the roll cage. So we're going to have to do a little bit of thinking now, improvise, and see how we can make this happen. We've been scratching our heads a little bit, working out where we could put this. We didn't really want to cut into the sill, make life difficult, but everywhere we look, it just runs into another problem. So we're going to go back to plan A, but just keep cutting, keep hammering, and hopefully we're going to make this thing fit.
Last time we used that was when we were cutting the roof off of the Volvo.
That's right.
This was the last time this came out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to put all the PPE on for this one. Top tip, install these before you build the car.
Ah.
Yeah, it escalated really bad. Right, we're getting somewhere now, at last. It's not looking pretty, but the first job is to actually try and make that tube go through. It's like going backwards before we go forwards. And luckily we've got the right tools. These like saw, like air saw, and this power saw is much easier to use than like an angle grinder where you're spraying metal everywhere. And the little die grinder. With those three things we should be able to make this work. So keep going. I think I'm just going to cut this whole thing out here to give it space, and then run a plate on this, connecting back that up to like the inside bit of the seal there. More cutting, I think. Right, so after a lot more cutting and a bit of persuasion, I'm going to skip that word. Right, so after a lot of cutting and a bit of hammering, we've finally got this tube to slide through the chassis. It's pretty much at the right height, same as the other side, but we need to clearance a little bit more space for the locking nuts. This next bit is going to take a bit of time because we want to get it right, but we're going to see you back tomorrow and we're going to get it all fitted up and tested, and I can finally show you it working in real. Right, it's the morning and we've been working all night doing all the boring, cutting, grinding and welding jobs. Well, it's almost ready to install the air jacks. So we've got the right hand side of the car. Those are both fully in, secured, welded, ready to go. The front one, all the structural pieces are now welded. All we've got left to do is make a few more panels where we've had to cut into the seal to kind of shield it from the elements. And Ben is just finishing up on the last one. We've got all the tubes ready, it's just welding the top plate. That's really going to give us the extra strength because each corner has to lift about 300 kilos. We don't want it just to rip out straight through the floor as soon as we go. So we hope we've done it strong enough. If you're doing this yourself, obviously there is no how to do this. There's so many different ways depending on where it is in your car. One thing I would say is it takes a lot longer than you think. Definitely a lot of filing, a lot of sanding involved, air sander, it was great. Air file, this little tool, this is a must-have if you're installing one of these But it comes so in handy for cutting all the little bits out. So almost there. Just gonna do the last bit of fab, and then we're gonna get to try it out. Cool, so this little plate is gonna cover the last little hole I made, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. Right, so we've pretty much finished most of the fabrication now. Ben's just finalising the last bits, so I figured we're gonna start putting the air jacks in. You can see they're threaded all the way up, so you can just set your height here, slide them up, then you just got to lock the collars and that's it. And then the air lines go straight in there, so yeah, just gonna see how this goes. Hopefully they still fit after welding.
Here we go.
Right, so pretty excited about this. First time testing it on the car. So this is just one of them. Da-da-da-da. Hey, look at that.
I wonder if that's going to be enough to actually lift the car off the ground.
On the front, it might not. You might have to go up twice to lift the wheels, but I think on the back they don't sag so much. You could lower them down. Yeah, we are lowering them in the car so that can actually lift off the ground. Because I think that would have been a bit of a fail.
Yeah, that should be off the ground now.
Yeah, that's better.
Ben, how are you getting on? Right, they're all in. I can't believe that. That's taken a while, but we're here. Still got a little bit of welding to do, but enough. They're in there solid enough for the video, and then we can make it all nice afterwards. So now we've just got to run the airline, connecting them all up to a single point. We're going to put ours here, so we've got the fuel and then the point here, but for this video we're not going to have time, so we're just going to have it loose, just to test it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Get the wheels back on, lower it down, and then next time, hopefully, it's going to go up. Yeah, and then you just have one running down the middle of the car, splitting left. Go over to your side, Louis. And yeah. Well, let's make that. Let's be sensible. The initial and the second moment of truth here. In theory, you should have 4 jacks come out the car now. Wow! Do they look straight? They look straight from my house. This could be the most anticlimactic thing I've ever done. You ready to watch the welds rip out the chassis? The little baby wolf cub is probably not the perfect compressor for this. It's cute,
What's
but
an adult wolf called?
I don't know.
Cub.
Just a wolf. We need the big bastard wolf. The big bad wolf is what we need. But this wire, I kind of feel like it's going to blow up when I turn it. That is not as fast as I thought it would be. I think we need a bigger wolf. This is about as anticlimactic as Christmas 1994 when I didn't get my Batman costume I wanted. And my cousin did. That 3-rotor turbo is heavy. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, it went down.
It was cool.
I think if you really want the cool, you got to get nitrogen ones. You're going to have to change them. See you on the next episode when we upgrade to the Wolf 1000, the big bastard wolf. The big bad wolf, yeah, so we need more pressure. Oh, I wonder, I might once bought the wrong fitting and it might be in this box. Could it be in it? No. Ooh, what's that? We can fit it to the big compressor. Woo! Woo! I think so anyway. Woo! Here we go, we got an adapter. I don't know how to change the bar on this. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Cancel. Oh no, this is not intuitive at all. Well, the cub was at 120, but as soon as we started using it, it just dropped to 6. So this should be 50% better. That does not seem to be helping. We'll try.
Yeah. That's definitely
That's better, and that's with a massive air leak. That was disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. But the back's up, so that's good. That's the main thing. The main thing is we want to do have the back up, so we can change wheels quickly when we're drifting. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a valve, so we can turn it off so that all the air just goes to the back, and then it'll be much quicker.
Yeah.
We're gonna end up with having to bring a compressor that's as heavy as a nitrogen bottle. And then we could have just bought the nitrogen one.
So this is the lesson.
If you want it to go really fast, buy the other one and a nitrogen bottle. But we won't give up just yet. Hey, she's back! Oh, it does drop pretty cool though.
Oh, that was better.
Yeah. Right, so we've done everything that we need to do inside now, and what I really want to do is take it outside, get a bit of space, film some cool shots, and try out the elephant feet, which means we can lift it up really high, test if we can actually kind of see if we can change the gearbox. And we've worked out why it was a little bit slow in here, which I think you can solve outside, so I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. Right, time to go outside. Forgot to close the door. Looks like such a Frankenstein. Right guys, so we've taken the car outside, we've finished all the fab, and we're now going to show you one of the coolest features of the air jack. And that is that not only can you lift it up quickly, you can actually lift it up again so you can get under and work on the car using something called, or known as the elephant feet. So we've upped the pressure on the compressor also, which sped things up a little bit. I'm going to show you how to fit these, and then after that we're going to talk through some of the pros and cons of fitting this to your car. Right, step one, you're going to lift the car up. Step two, you're going to fit the lower part of the air jacks, slide them in just like this. Right, so step three, now you've got all four of the elephant feet bottom parts in place. You're going to retract the system and drop the car. And the legs, they're going to retract and lock themselves into place. And then step four, now you're going to slide this piece back into the elephant foot. Do that on all four corners. Right, now for the really cool part, we're going to go up again. Now the last step, before you can safely work on the car, you've got to put these in and then let the air down, because if you then otherwise have like an air leak, the car's going to fall. And then once you've done that, you're ready to lower it down and you're in a nice position to work on the car. You can change your gearbox, get fully underneath the car. Yeah, it doesn't look so. It just looks really... Right guys, so got it on the elephant feet. I think this is what makes the kit really cool. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed inside when the speed wasn't quite what I imagined it being like compared to the GT cars, but for drifting, that doesn't really matter. But if you're doing endurance racing, you're not gonna want the low pressure ones, you're gonna want the high pressure ones. Those are actually like a smaller diameter as well, so they're probably gonna be easier to fit. But you will require a nitrogen bottle with that, or compressed air bottle somehow. So that is a little bit more complexity. But in hindsight, I probably would have gone for that. I think it would have been easier to install. So, was it worth it? Well, I think only time is really going to tell. But essentially, what you've got to weigh up is the cost. The parts to do this, including the elephant feet, which I think if you're going to do it, you really want to invest in. You're looking at about £4,000 plus the parts, plus the fitting time. Now, we did this ourselves, but I would imagine the amount of time this takes, you're going to be spending £1,500 with a fabricator. It's not far off the time it takes to fit a roll cage. But where I think it can really come into its own is at an event where you haven't got access to a lift, you need to fix something fast, or you're actually going to be able to do better checks. So when I'm at a drift track, I always find it's really easy to check the back, to jack up, but the front is a bit more of a pain. And sometimes all you need to do, like to check, is to have a quick check to make sure nothing's come loose on the front, because that's on the drift cars, that seems to be the biggest problem, things just coming loose. And the ability at that stage is to slide underneath. You could change the gearbox much easier than if you would on jacks. So for me, I think that's going to be a good advantage. However, you've got to weigh up the costs. The cost £4,000 plus the time versus a jack and some axle stands, which is probably going to set you back £300-400 for something decent. The other thing to consider is if you're working on uneven ground, I think the elephant feet are going to be a pain in the ass. We're on pretty dead level ground here, and that's not a problem, but if you've got stones and gravel, I think that's going to be a bit wobbly. And the time it takes to fit, but also the extra weight. So in a race car, obviously weight is important. Now, if you're in endurance racing, the time saved in the pits is going to offset that, like how much slower it is on track because of the weight, and you've probably got minimum weights. But in drifting, there is not always a minimum, most of the time in Europe anyway, there's no minimum weight. And you're going to add, with this system, I think the parts were about 12 kilos, plus all the extra metal, you're probably close to 20 kilos by the time you've added it all up. So that is a big negative. And you've got other things sticking down that could bend, and if they break, you know, it's going to be more expensive. So that's probably the big things. But it looks really cool. I'm pretty happy with this. I wanted it because I was building the ultimate Volvo drift car, and it just felt like something I'd always want to have. I had a bucket list thing itched to scratch. I think it looks cool, but we'll give you a full review a little bit later down the line. Other things to consider. Obviously, we haven't actually finished the system fully. Normally, you're not going to have your lines just wrapped around your roll cage, but they're push-fit connections. You're just going to run them, P-clip them to the inside of your car, and then you're going to have that on the outside of your car, so you can quickly put the lance in. We're going to put that here on the Volvo. So we've got our fuel in here. We're going to put the air line in there, so when you come in, you can put it on the lance. It's going to be really quick. So that we didn't show in this video, but I figured that would be quite boring and pretty obvious how you finish that off. Now we just need to finish off the last bit of welding, put a seam sealer on and paint it again, and now we're ready to rip. So yeah, hope you like that video, a bit different. We did some fabricating, bit of a kind of parts review kind of thing. I couldn't find any videos that were kind of explaining the system myself, so I thought this would be cool. If you like it, drop a link, drop a comment. Would you fit this to your car? I don't know. The only other thing I thought maybe we could talk about is there is one other option to give you this kind of working height. You can fit what I would call rally stands, which basically are these triangle stands where you then have a big bar that you slide into the car. You have to make provision for that in the chassis. If you do that and build some really good jacking points, you can get the same kind of working height, keep the weight down, and you're probably going to come in on under £1,000. So that's probably what I would do if I was more concerned about performance and I wasn't all about the jazzy bit, but the fact just going to the track and that's going to be pretty cool. So this Volvo is never going to be the fastest car, but now she's pretty high tech as well, so I like it. Do what you want to do and whatever makes you happy, and see you on the next one.